Hello everyone, welcome to the third video in our UNCRPD series. In this video, we'll discuss Articles 10 to 17 of the Convention. Others will be explained in the subsequent videos. Let's begin with Articles 10 and 11. At their heart lies a very simple idea. The life of a person with disability is as valuable, meaningful, and worthy of protection as the life of anyone else. Coming to Article 10, Right to Life. When we hear the term right to life, we often think only about staying alive. But the right to life means much more than that. To understand it better, let's first look at different ways in which this right can be violated. Violations of right to life happen by causing direct harm to life, by subjecting a person to violence and abuse, it could be physical or mental, by depriving a person of basic needs like food, healthcare, and safety, or by denying protection during emergency situations like pandemics or natural disaster. Unfortunately, history shows us that persons with disabilities have not always been treated equally. Across different countries and time periods, many people with disability have been isolated, abandoned, neglected, or even harmed, simply because society viewed their lives as less valuable or as a burden. Article 10, Right to Life, challenges this thinking. It clearly affirms two important principles. First, every human being has an inherent right to life. And second, persons with disabilities must be given the same opportunity to live, thrive, and enjoy life as everyone else. UNCRPD also ensures protection of life of people with disability in times of crisis and danger through its Article 11, Situations of Risk and Humanitarian Emergencies. It mandates the state parties to protect people with disability during emergency situations like wars, hurricanes, pandemics, floods, earthquakes, etc. But simply stating this right is not enough. Governments must actively plan for the safety of persons with disabilities before emergencies occur. Now think about an evacuation shelter during a flood. Can a wheelchair user enter the building independently? Can a deaf person receive emergency alerts? Article 11 requires governments to consider these needs while planning disaster response systems. Now let's move to Articles 12 and 13, which deal with law and justice. Article 12, Equal Recognition Before the Law, is especially important because it addresses a common assumption about disability, that other people should make decisions on behalf of persons with disabilities. This article tells us that persons with disabilities have the same legal standing as everyone else. It focuses on two key ideas: equal legal rights and equal legal capacity. Let's start with legal rights. Imagine being denied admission to a school, refused a job, or prevented from owning property simply because of your health condition or disability. Would that be fair? Of course not. Legal rights exist to protect people from such discrimination. Legal rights are the freedoms and protections that every person is entitled to under the law. These include right to go to school, own property, vote, receive equal treatment, and be protected from abuse. If a person's legal rights are violated, they can approach the court to seek protection, remedy, and enforcement of those rights. Article 12 states that people with disability must be recognized by the law just like everyone else. This means they enjoy the same legal rights as all other citizens. For example, if a qualified person is denied employment solely because of their disability, they have the right to challenge that decision in court. The article also specifically recognizes the equal right of persons with disabilities to own or inherit property, to control their own finances, to access loans and other financial services just like others, and be protected from having their home or property taken away unfairly. In this way, Article 12 challenges the common misconception that a person with an intellectual disability cannot own a property or operate a bank account. Now, what is legal capacity? Legal capacity means that a person can make decisions for themselves and have those decisions recognized by the law. These decisions may relate to money, education, healthcare, marriage, property, voting, employment, and everyday life. Persons with disabilities are equally entitled to make these decisions for themselves. But who lets a person with disability decide? Nobody. Decisions regarding their life are usually taken by their family members or appointed guardians, assuming that they do not have the ability to do so on their own. Article 12 recognizes that persons with disability have same right as everyone else to make decisions about their own lives. It also recognizes that some individuals might need support for the same, and that support should be made available. If a person genuinely needs assistance from someone else, safeguards must be in place to ensure that their rights, will, and preferences are respected and that no abuse occurs. A person with learning disability may need help with reading a document, or a person with intellectual disability may need the information to be explained in simpler language, but they still have a right to be actively involved in the decision making process related to their own lives. Remember, the goal is not to replace a person's decision with someone else's. The goal is to provide the support needed so that the person can make their own decisions as independently as possible. Article 12 guarantees equal recognition before law, which means persons with disability have an equal right to seek justice, but having those rights on paper is not enough. Imagine having the right to go to court, but being unable to reach it because the court building is inaccessible, information is not available in a format that is understandable, or nobody can communicate with you. This is where Article 13, access to justice, comes in. It ensures that persons with disabilities can actually access and participate in the justice system. It aims to make it easy for people with disability to use the legal system fairly. To enable this, state parties shall ensure persons with disabilities have equal and effective access to justice. And for this, they must be provided with reasonable accommodations in the judicial procedures. Like a deaf person should be provided with sign language interpretation during court proceedings. Persons with disability have an equal right to participate in the judicial process, like being a witness. And appropriate measures must be taken to make this happen easily. It is very important that people working in courts, police, and prison staff are trained to ensure access to justice for people with disabilities. So far, we have seen that persons with disabilities have the same right to life, legal recognition, decision making, and access to justice as everyone else. But what if a person is locked away because of their disability? What if a person is forced to undergo treatment against their wishes? What if they experience abuse and have no protection? Articles 14 to 17 address these issues. Together, they focus on freedom, safety, dignity, and bodily integrity of persons with disabilities. Article 14, liberty and security of the person, makes it clear that persons with disabilities have the same right to freedom, safety, and liberty as everyone else. This means they cannot be locked away, isolated, or treated unfairly simply because they have a disability. They have the right to live safely and freely in society like others. A person cannot be forced into an institution solely because they have mental illness. The convention further states that persons with disabilities must not be deprived of their liberty unlawfully or arbitrarily. In some situations, a person's liberty may be restricted according to law, such as during an arrest or detention due to a criminal case. However, disability alone can never be used as a reason to take away a person's freedom. In other words, a person cannot be kept in an institution, hospital, care home, or any other facility against their will simply because of a disability. Even when a person with disability is arrested or detained, they continue to enjoy the same human rights and legal protections as everyone else. For example, they must receive information about their rights in accessible formats. They must have access to a fair hearing, and they can also have their case reviewed according to the same legal standards as others. In addition, reasonable accommodations must be provided so that they can effectively participate in legal processes and exercise their rights. Unfortunately, many persons with disabilities still face situations where their choices and consent are ignored. For example, some persons with psychosocial or psychiatric disabilities are forced to undergo treatment without their consent. Some persons with physical impairments may be pressured into surgeries or medical procedures they do not want. In certain situations, reports have emerged of individuals being subjected to medical or scientific experimentation without their informed consent. It is completely unacceptable for a person that someone else gets to decide what happens to their body without asking them. Yet, this is a reality that many persons with disabilities have faced. Such actions violate a person's dignity, autonomy, and basic human rights. And this is precisely what Article 15 seeks to prevent. Article 15, freedom from torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. This article requires governments to take effective legislative, administrative, judicial, and other measures to ensure that no person with disability is subjected to torture, abuse, humiliation, or degrading treatment. No medical or scientific experiment is conducted on a person with disability without their free and informed consent. Simply put, disability can never be used as a justification for cruelty, abuse, or forced medical interventions. Another important concern addressed by the Convention is exploitation, violence, and abuse. Research from around the world shows that persons with disabilities are at a much higher risk of experiencing violence and abuse. Women and children with disabilities are particularly vulnerable. For example, a child with a disability may be physically harmed by a caregiver because the caregiver believes the child cannot report the abuse or will not be believed. Similarly, women with disabilities often face higher rates of gender-based violence than women without disabilities. Article 16, freedom from exploitation, violence, and abuse, recognizes this risk and provides important safeguards. It states that persons with disabilities have the right to be protected from all forms of exploitation, violence, and abuse, and this protection must extend everywhere: homes, schools, workplaces, hospitals, institutions, and throughout the community. The convention also recognizes that not everyone faces same risks. Women and children with disabilities may face additional vulnerabilities. Therefore, protection measures should be age sensitive, gender sensitive, and disability sensitive. Article 16 also emphasizes prevention. Persons with disabilities, their families, and caregivers should be educated about how to avoid, recognize, and report abuse. In addition, services and facilities serving persons with disabilities should be regularly monitored by independent authorities. And if abuse does occur, governments must ensure recovery, rehabilitation, and social integration of victims, and also proper identification, investigation, and prosecution of the offenders. Article 17 is about protecting the integrity of a person. After discussing freedom from forced treatment, abuse, and violence, Article 17 brings us back to a simple but powerful principle. Persons with disabilities are people first. Like everyone else, they have the right to respect for their body, mind, dignity, and personal identity. No one should harm them, force treatment upon them, or make decisions about their body without respecting their wishes and consent. Doctors should explain treatment options, seek informed consent, and involve the person in decisions affecting their own health. Article 17 reminds us that persons with disabilities are not merely recipients of care or protection. They are individuals with rights, choices, preferences, and identities that deserve equal respect. Their choices matter, their voices matter, and their dignity must always be protected. Please like, share, subscribe, and share your views in the comment section. See you in the next video with explanation of the next articles. Thank you.